In the 90s, two talents from the Balkans were part of Malmö FF. One was named Tony, the other Zlatan. Today Zlatan stands among the world's finest footballers, a name synonymous with success and resilience. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a warrior on the pitch, a legend in the annals of football, cheered on by a chorus of global fans. But beneath the surface of this glittering narrative, there lies a forgotten echo from the past. Tony Flygare, once considered to be a greater talent than Zlatan, and was predicted to be our next great football star. But when everything looked brightest, Tony Flygare made a decision that became the beginning of the end, and that would forever define his career. Tony grew up in a nurturing environment in Malmö, Sweden, with his mother Maria, stepfather Stefan, and younger sister Tina. Despite the absence of his biological father, who hailed from Macedonia, and the eventual separation of his parents, Tony's upbringing was stable and filled with love. His life took a turn when at the age of 6 he met Zlatan Ibrahimovic. They connected instantly, sharing a native language teacher, similar Balkan roots, and a physical resemblance. They shared a bunch of laughs even back then, making jokes about their language teacher's car, a funny green thing that looked just like Mr. Bean's. "Here comes the frog to pick us up," they'd say, waiting for a lesson neither of them cared much about. Tony, always envisioning having a brother, naturally slipped into the role of the elder, despite Zlatan's strong and distinctive personality. At that age, it wasn't football that captured Tony and Zlatan's attention. They were more interested in other kinds of play. When the native language teaching ended, it was some years before they started playing football together in Balkan. Tony's football beginnings were marked by the vibrant atmosphere of Rosengård's pitches, where he played for FBK Balkan's youth team. It was there amid the echoes of the neighborhood that Tony reconnected with Zlatan, a familiar face from language classes who shared his competitive spirit. The duo quickly became a formidable force, standing out in a team of immigrants, challenging the norms of Swedish youth football. During this formative period, a wave of extraordinary talent surged through the ranks of their local club. It was a golden era for the small club in Malmö, a city that had not seen such an influx of gifted players in its history. This was the environment in which Tony and Zlatan honed their skills, surrounded by peers who were setting their sights on greater heights. The two friends, fueled by the success of a teammate who had made the leap to Malmö FF, the renowned top-tier club, began to dream bigger. From the pages of Tony's biography, Zlatan's assertive proclamation captures the essence of their ambition. "One day, we will dominate Malmö FF together, Tony." Tony agreed with a nod, their shared vision clear and unspoken between them. Tony's journey was a short one, a mere 300 meters from his home on Vitemöllegatan to the tunnel leading to Kronmansväg, where Zlatan resided. Today, that very tunnel is adorned with a quote from Zlatan that captures the essence of their bond and origins. "You can take a guy out of Rosengård, but you can't take Rosengård out of the guy." The air at Balkan was thick with rumors of a player exodus to Malmö FF, the club that symbolized success. Tony and Zlatan harbored dreams of making there too, but Zlatan harbored doubts about competing with a talented roster. "Why not Malmö FF?" Tony asked. "They're too good," Zlatan responded. "We won't fit in." "We're as good as any," Tony countered, but Zlatan wasn't convinced. Scouts from Malmö FF began to appear at their games, yet no offers came. Then one day, Zlatan was gone. Malmö FF scooped him up. Tony stayed with Balkan for one more year, feeling a void in Zlatan's absence. Curiosity about Zlatan's new life grew, and the response he got from Zlatan about Malmö FF was that it was tougher, with more training and a higher bar for making it to the first team. Undeterred, Tony at 13 initiated contact with Malmö FF and secured a trial, A pivotal match in Svedala awaited, a test to determine his future with the club. The journey felt momentous, and wearing the Malmö FF jersey filled him with immense pride. The match was his first taste of 11-a-side football, and he rose to the occasion with a performance that dazzled, netting half the team's goal in a 10-0 triumph. After the match, a coach delivered the news Tony longed to hear. Welcome to Malmö FF. It was a new beginning, a step towards fulfilling his dream, an opportunity to rekindle the partnership with Zlatan in a place where excellence was the norm. At Malmö FF, Tony's footballing prowess flourished remarkably. He emerged as a dominant force in the youth team, eclipsing even Zlatan, who struggled to secure a regular spot. Tony's rapid adaptation to Swedish society paralleled his on-field evolution. He increasingly embraced the Swedish language over Serbo-Croatian, and his mother's enhanced financial support, who seemed to embody the club's ideal. Malmö FF invested heavily in Tony's future, likely influenced by his willingness to conform to the club's mold. The organization sought a player in the vein of Martin Dahlin, a strong, imposing figure capable of shouldering the team's aspirations as the quintessential number 9. Zlatan, who partnered with Tony in the attack for the club's youth team, also showcased his goal-scoring capabilities, though Tony edged him out with a slightly sharper finish, 15 goals in 17 matches, against Zlatan's respectable 12 in 20. Zlatan, on the other hand, navigated a different path. His rebellious nature and insistence on refining his unique skills often put him at odds with the trainer's disciplined blueprint. Unfettered by the club's lack of endorsement, Zlatan preserved his flamboyant style, practicing in the extraordinary and the audacious with a relentless determination. Tony, the club's chosen talisman, found himself under intense scrutiny. Every touch, every move was analyzed and critiqued. Praise and reprimand doled out in equal measure. Despite being the focal point in the team's strategy, Tony couldn't help but be impressed by Zlatan's resolve and sheer audacity to defy conventions. In a tale that seemed almost fabled, Tony Flygare's ascent within the realm of Swedish football was reaching its peak. His natural talent and relentless drive on the pitch had earned him the status of Sweden's most promising young talent. The 1998 season saw Tony's star shine brighter than ever, with a staggering 48 goals in 54 matches for their under-18 team, a statistic that not only set him apart from his peers, but also overshadowed Zlatan's contribution of 14 goals in the same number of matches. This was a testament to Tony's prowess and potential as the future of Swedish football. Malmö FF was teetering on a knife edge, stuck in a nail-biting spot in the low reaches of the Allsvenskan standings. The grim specter of relegation was casting a long shadow over the team, a shadow that had not loomed this large since they first earned their spot in the top flight back in the 1936-37 season. It was a legacy on the line. Never before had they faced a drop since that historic promotion. The pressure was mounting, the stakes were sky high, and every match felt like a battle to keep their proud history from being tarnished. It was during this tumultuous period that Tony experienced a fleeting taste of maturity beyond his years. A firm pat on the shoulder from his coaches Roland and Thomas was more than just a gesture. It was an acknowledgement of his arrival into the senior squad, where he stood shoulder to shoulder with the seasoned pros. Tony's journey with Malmö FF took a rapid turn towards the spotlight. Unlike Zlatan, who had to bide his time for half a year before making a mark on the senior team, Tony hit the ground running. By the 25th of July 1999, he wasn't just another name on the squad, he was the name that caught everyone's attention. Making his debut against Untold in the Swedish Cup, he didn't just show up, he showed off, scoring and announcing his arrival with a bang. It was a debut that sparked whispers and turned heads, not just at home, but all the way to Spain, where talks with Real Sociedad began to stir, hinting a future beyond the Swedish pitches. In the heart of 1999 football season, Malmö FF stood at a crossroads, teetering just above the relegation zone. The upcoming match against Halmstad IF wasn't just another game. It was a battle for survival, a chance to secure their spot in the Allsvenskan. It was Sunday, September 19th, 1999. The stage was set at the historic Malmö Stadion. Fans poured in a sea of blue and white, each one carrying the weight of the club's legacy and the anxiety of the uncertain future. As the match kicked off, Malmö FF played a desperation born of necessity. Every pass, every tackle, every shot was more than just a play. It was a fight for the club's honor. As the clock ticked past the 52nd minute mark, Flygare was called into action, substituted into a game that was teetering on the edge. The tension escalated further when in the 82nd minute, Zlatan Ibrahimovic stepped into the match, marking his first ever senior debut. The stakes could not have been higher. In the dying moments of the match, Malmö FF were awarded a penalty, a glimmer of hope to claw back an equalizer. But the team's usual penalty taker, Olof Persson, was sidelined with an injury. A hush fell over the stadium as Tony looked around at his teammates, their faces etched with fear and anticipation. Without a moment's hesitation, he stepped up, declaring, "I will take it," and firmly grabbed the ball. Tony recalled this pivotal moment in his biography. Quote, "In my head, there was only one thought. I have nothing to lose but everything to gain. It may sound a little egoistical, that at that moment I was so busy with my own role, but that's how it was. I wanted to be a man amongst men, go from junior to regular in the senior team. I longed to take the plunge. Now I would do it by showing responsibility to my teammates and to the club in my heart, Malmö FF." End quote. As he placed the ball on the spot, a creeping panic began to set in. His mind raced with the consequences. His teammates stood frozen, their eyes wide with terror. In that moment, Tony felt disconnected, as if time itself had paused. Should I go full force, close my eyes, and shoot everything I've got, he pondered. The pressure was unlike anything he had ever experienced. What if he missed? Taking a few steps back, he stilled himself, ran forward, and took the shot. In that instant, it was as though fate had intervened, deciding that this penalty would irreversibly change his life. The tension in Malmö's stadium was palpable. In that crucial moment, the trajectories of two careers were about to diverge in ways no one could have predicted. For Tony, the aftermath of the penalty was a harsh and unforgiving reality. The coach's faith in him wavered. He found himself relegated to the under-18 team and eventually, within a year, released from the club. The dream he had harbored to rise through the ranks of Malmö FF and make his mark in Swedish football began to slip away. This moment, which held so much promise, instead marked the beginning of the end of his career at the top level. By 2006, Tony Flygare would retire, never having reclaimed the spotlights that once seemed destined to be his. Meanwhile, for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, that day at Malmö Stadium was the stepping stone to a future filled with glory. As Tony's star waned, Zlatans began to ascend. He seized the opportunity presented by the void in Malmö's attacking lineup, showcasing his talent and determination. His performances were pivotal in helping Malmö FF secure promotion back to the Allsvenskan the following season. This success caught the attention of bigger clubs, and soon Zlatan was on his way to Ajax, marking the beginning of a 2-decade-long career that would see him become one of football's most iconic figures. His journey took him to the pinnacle of European football, playing for some of the biggest clubs in the world and earning accolades and admiration globally.